Hey there, crafty friends! It's Tina from the Scrappin Rabbit blog. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. In today's video, I'm going to be creating some cards using the adorable, not too shabby Box of the Month kit for the month of July. These are the insect cuties, and this box, many of you guys purchased this box because it is sold out. I'm also working with products for the August release, so I can't wait to share those with you. But so here's some inspiration for those of you who have purchased the kit. I believe there might be some of the papers left in the shop, but this box is sold out. But as I said, hopefully this will inspire those of you who have purchased the box, and maybe for some of you considering purchasing, you can see all the amazing goodness that you get in these kits. So there was 2 of these 6x6 paper pads, a slimline paper pad, 2 adorable stamp kits. She also sent in some embellishments, and these are the ephemera. I'm going to be working with the ephemera for my cards today, so let's go ahead and get started. Here are the ephemera that come with this July Box of the Month kit, and how cute is that little ladybug? So I'm picking out the images that I want to use, and all I did was take some scissors and trim around the white border. And I wanted it to have a thinner outline because that's basically what I'm used to because I stamp a lot. So I trimmed out these images from these little ephemera pieces. I'm also going to use a piece of the slimline paper as well as this background paper that has an ombre effect. And I think that that's going to make for a really cute slimline card. So that's my card base, and then I'm going to use some dies from Mama Elephant, and this is from their Slim Card Basics. I went ahead and trimmed down a piece of lavender cardstock, some of the faux embossed slimline paper, and then this is the ombre pattern paper, and I thought that would make a really cute backdrop for these little windows, and I'm going to be saving a lot of time not having to use my inks to do the distress inking myself to get that ombre effect. So this is definitely a time saver. If you're wanting to put together a quick card, you can just use the pattern paper, especially ones like this that have that ombre effect. I'm going to use some liquid glue just to go ahead and glue these together. You could also make it a shaker if you wanted to have spend a little bit more time and put in the window and the foam tape and then the little embellishments. I'm just going to adhere those into the windows and go ahead and glue this piece onto that scalloped layer. So this card is coming together super duper quick and really almost took no effort at all. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm just going to go ahead and figure out the placement for my little cuties, and then I can go ahead and glue that layered piece down. Slimlines are definitely one of my favorite types of cards to create. I like that it feels a little bit more substantial than just a little A2 size note card. Now I'm going to stamp the sentiment, and on this set I really like that hello my friend, because then I can use this card for just about any occasion. So I'm going to use some Versamark and some black cardstock, and I'm going to get some white embossing powder. I really love the way that a sentiment looks embossed, especially when it's the white on the black. It helps it to stand out a little bit more. And I'm going to heat my heat tool up nice and hot, and then I'm going to melt that powder down. I have this little die here from the My Favorite Things Blueprints. I think it was a Blueprints, I think 27, and so I went ahead and created a banner. I do like to pop up my ephemera pieces, and there's lots of little antennas there that are really skinny, so I want to make sure that I have little pieces of the double-sided adhesive foam to help make sure that those don't get bent or ruined, especially if I decide to mail this card. And then for the final touches, I'm just going to add some of these gemstones in the purple, and figuring out the layout of the gemstones and sequins and other kinds of embellishments. I play around with it so much trying to come up with a good combination, and sometimes I even change it. I think after I was done gluing these down, I went back and I even added more off camera to the bottom of the card. So it's definitely an art, people that can embellish so eloquently. Mine always just look like they're thrown on there, but I think that it turned out cute. I do like this little pink this little pink wand that it's like a picker-upper. It's like a jewel picker-upper. This one seems to be working pretty well, but for these faceted gemstones, it's a little bit tricky sometimes getting those to pick up. So there you have it. And of course I'm going to add some sparkle. Sparkle marker is definitely one of my favorite things to do to all of my cards. And I think I bought these Spectrum Noir sparkle markers in like a 6-pack or something a while ago. So I have backups as well for when this one runs out. The Nouveau glitter markers are another one of those investments that I've made that I really use a lot. And it just adds a little bit more dimension, a little bit more sparkle, and that completes my first card. So moving on to my second card, this one is going to be a top folding A2, and I chose those adorable images there from the ephemera pack. That die cut is from Mama Elephant, and it's one of my favorites. A little scallop side, and it fits from top to bottom on an A2 card. I'm going to do a little bit of stenciling using this Newton's Nook Cloud stencil and some tumbled glass distress oxide. It's a little bit hard to see. It's a very light, muted color, but it's perfect for clouds. And I'm just going to go down the layer there, adding some more of the ink, flipping my stencil around so that the clouds don't look too uniform. I want to add a little bit more blue, but then as I'm going down, I realize, you know, I want to stamp a sentiment on here. And it does take a little bit of time for Distress Oxide to dry. And so I left that bottom blank so that I could go ahead and stamp my sentiment before I added any more inking. So I'm going to use VersaFine black ink this time because I really love the way that that ink looks on a sentiment. And I'm going to add the embossing powder as well. The clear embossing powder over all my sentiments is definitely one of the things that I really enjoy doing, adding a little bit more dimension and a little bit more of a wow factor to my cards. You want to make sure that your heat tool is heated up nice and hot before you put it on the paper because you do get a little warping. This is Bristol Smooth cardstock that I like to use for the inking. With the Distress Oxides though, it doesn't matter as much what kind of paper that you use, but I tend to do most of my white layers with the Bristol Smooth cardstock. Now I'm going to add a little bit more blue, wipe off my sentiment, and then I have that nice little muted blue cloud look for the front panel of my card. I wanted it to pop a little bit more, so I cut out some strips of gold metallic cardstock. No need to waste an entire piece. All you need to do is just trim out some little edges to tuck underneath since you're not going to see anything from behind. So that's a good way to add a little bit of detail to your card and still, you know, hoard that metallic cardstock, which is, I'm a master hoarder when it comes to my papers. Make it last for as long as possible. So a little bit went off the edge there, so I'm just going to trim it with my scissors, and then again, using the liquid glue, I'm going to adhere that down to my cardstock. So I wanted to just add a little bit of something there. So I think that the gold really made a difference, especially because with the honey is gold, and so that actually helps to tie it all in. And how cute are these images? I just love them. So I'm going to glue the beehive down, and then I'm going to pop up the flower and the bee. So I'm going to go to my double-sided adhesive foam tape, which my gigantic roll is no longer gigantic. It's actually getting down to the wire. And as you can see, I take the time to cut all those little itty bitty pieces to help support my image. And now I'm just going to adhere it to my cardstock, but of course, need some sparkle. So I'm going to grab some of those Pink Fresh Studios gemstones again and get those adhered down with my glue. And then of course it'll be time to add some more sparkly embellishments, and so I'm going to use my Nouveau gold glitter marker, give it some accents on that little honey heart, as well as the sunflower. Definitely can't have too much sparkle. And what's nice is it does add glitter in there, so it gives it a little bit of texture as well. And then I'm going to go over it even more using my sparkle marker from Spectrum Noir. I love the way that it looks over the wings especially. And this is a simple but adorable card. No stamping and coloring involved. Just coming up with the design and gluing it all down, and that completes my second card. For the third card, I'm going to use some of this honeycomb pattern paper. Again, with this My Favorite Things die that I used to cut out my sentiment and this stitched rectangle from Gina Marie Designs. I'm going to do some more stenciling, but first I'm going to stamp a sentiment onto this card. And my little embossing buddy there kind of exploded all over that heart, so I had to shake off some of that powder. I want to go ahead and stamp the Happy Birthday sentiment, which fits perfectly onto this heart. And then I'm going to add that clear embossing powder and then get my heat gun again, heat it up nice and hot because I really want it to be quick. A lot of the ephemera has a coating on it, so you might not get as solid of a sentiment on there the way that the embossing powder melts, but if you do it really quick, that's even better. So now I'm going to ink this honeycomb stencil up, and I have two of my distress inks there, a darker yellow and a lighter yellow, and I'm just going to figure out where my little images are going to go and then just kind of work on the center of that rectangle, going from dark to light and not having it the color more in the center and then fading out towards the edges of the rectangle. And then that just gives me a little bit of something on there instead of having that stark white. And I think that it really adds to the background. Again, with my double-sided foam tape, as I work on that gigantic roll, getting all of the areas across my ephemera pieces covered, give nice, good support. And then I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that to this layer. And I think it turned out so cute. And then now once I get those guys down and figure out placement, I'm just going to go ahead and glue it all together using my Barely Arts liquid adhesive glue. I really love this glue. It is thinner. I know that that's probably the biggest complaint, but I like it because it doesn't leave like hard lines behind my layers. It flattens out super nice, especially with my bone folder. So adding the little gemstones at the end, the gold ones, are going to be the finishing touch. And of course I'm going to have to add some sparkle marker as well. So I went with just 3 little gems. And then I have to add all the little sparkle with my Nouveau Gold going off over that gold honey. It really does make a difference, especially in person. It's harder to see on camera. Do you guys like that? Do you guys like to add all that sparkle at the end? Or do you think it's overkill? I don't know. I think that it adds that extra special touch. And then I'm just smoothing it out, adding more with the sparkle marker, and that completes my third card. So I got 3 in today. I'm so proud of myself. The slimline, this one here with the stenciled clouds, and then the stenciled honeycomb, all using the ephemera images. So darn cute. I have links down in the description box if you want to go ahead and check out the card of the month, that Not Too Shabby. The August box is right around the corner. I'm working on my projects for that. But I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I really hope you like my cards, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye for now.